The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody?
I love your voice so far.
slightly cheerier today.
Wow.
After the Celtics take down the New York Knicks 115-93 in Game 3 to pull within 2-1 in this series. Celtics go in to MSG, and it's the lasting image will be Payton Pritchard makes the three. They pan to Spike Lee in the crowd and head in hands. Celtics were up 26 at that point. They pushed their lead as high as 31 and rumble to the finish line of a win where they finally shot the basketball okay. And who do they have to blame but Spike P. Payton Pritchard. Oh boy. I got you allergic on that. I'm
so sorry. I couldn't hold it back.
That was amazing.
Anyway.
So Spike
Sorry,
P.
everyone, if I just broke your ruin your eardrums. I tried to remove myself from this mic. Look, Payton just, what did we call him? Spike P?
Spike P.
Spike P. New York fans. I'm nerd,
They might not watch today.
Spike P. They should. We got new viewership. I'm all for it.
We do appreciate the aggregation and the...
Can I say one thing before? It's actually really funny. One of you guys had a comment, and I usually I don't tap into it, but I will say this. One guy goes, there's a woman named Kate Adbo, and we look alike. We're both mixed, big curly hair, and I really want to get a shirt. And it's I give this guy credit. He goes, oh, Dollar Store Kate Adbo has a point. Dollar Store? Can I get Target? Can I get Dollar Store?
But
Five Below?
I mean, ultimately, he gave you a compliment, right?
It was. I looked at that one and I actually laughed. So we'll move forward. But for the new viewers,
you were bashing the Knicks the other night. And I thought I went to bat for the team, and then my mentions were a mess.
No,
People were not happy with what I thought was a compliment.
It was a compliment.
That team
You're
doesn't die.
That, they stuck around the way that they did, and they have been.
They did die tonight, though.
You're right. So moving forward here to tonight. Shout out that guy who compared me to the Dollar Store version of Kay Adbo. Payton Pritchard was no Dollar Store version of anybody because he had 23 points here tonight. Playoff career high numbers. But the thing about him is the pace that he plays with. I love when Payton Pritchard is pushing the ball down the court. Joe Mazzulla put him in earlier.
Yes.
Which was different. And I was all for it. And you saw it make sense because the game seemed faster. I thought, and I'm going to go all over the place here, but, Jaylen Brown, I thought really set the tone, just getting into the paint, those guys not settling for threes. But even when Payton, the first couple of threes that he took, he was balanced. It didn't feel rushed. It felt calm, cool, poised, collective. Doris Burke mentioned it on the broadcast. And when you're able to see those shots fall, then it starts to have a ripple effect. And I thought Payton all around, especially coming off the bench, leading the way like he did, really, really set the tone for Boston.
I didn't even notice as we were doing our postgame show, but Payton played. The only two players that played more minutes for the Celtics than Payton Pritchard was Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum.
Wow.
Al Horford played the same, 34-31. Just as you said, they went to Payton a little bit earlier. One of the things I walked away from Game 2 thinking was some of their best minutes were with Luke and Payton on the court. And especially as you're navigating this, Kristaps after effects of the illness, and you're trying to find just the best lineups that work, one of the things that is pretty jarring is that good things happen when Payton is on the court. And so I think Joe noticed that and said he's one of the few guys who not only can he knock down threes like he did tonight, hitting 5 of 10.
Yeah, 5.
But he's willing to go underneath and get dirty. He had one where he ripped the ball away after he lost it.
That was a great play.
And I don't even think he made the next shot, but he was going to make good things happen when he's in there. And it's funny, we were debating afterward whether every good role player has a game where is that the Leon Poe game? Is that the Glenn Davis game? I don't think this is the Payton Pritchard game. It will be remembered
Which is a good sign.
Yeah, right. And I think only as
fans.
respect that. I think Payton has a 30-point playoff game in him where
okay.
When the other guys are struggling or in a closer game, it feels like it needs to be a little bit closer to be defined by a bench group. But undeniably, the Celtics just needed a win. And for Payton to be one of 5 guys to land in double figures, to give you that scoring boost, was really pivotal for a Celtics team that the offense had just dove off the charts. So, 50% shooting from the field and beyond the arc is an accomplishment. I think the only number that surprised me is that he was only +8 in his floor time, which, again, the second quarter was a little had a couple speed bumps in there, and probably early fourth too. But I just love the way Payton Pritchard played in this game. And, people will sit there and debate, he won six-man because the Celtics won all these games, and how impactful was he? Well, there it is. Like, coming off the bench in a playoff game, in a must-have playoff game, and Payton Pritchard was fantastic.
He was electric, and why he is the sixth man of the year is the role that he buys into. It's not just, him being on a great team. Yeah, I mean, that's an added layer when you're on a great team. But the spark that he is off the bench, and I thought it was such a great coaching move by Joe Mazzulla to play him earlier. Like, you were wondering, I feel like a lot of fans and everyone was wondering how Joe Mazzulla was going to coach this game, because there were some arguments like, Joe is being out-coached by Tibbs and he's not putting them in the best position or whatever. And, even Payton said post-game, I'm off social media, I'm not focusing on TV, et cetera. We're locked in. And I feel like that's what that whole locker room is about. But it did, I was curious going into this, like, how is Joe going to coach this? And to see Payton get in there, see Al start.
Abby caught up with Payton after the game, and then Payton talked in the locker room. Here's a little bit from both.
Payton, there were parts of this game where you're the best player on the floor. As the leader of that reserve unit, how much did you put on your shoulders today?
I didn't put much on my shoulders. We just had to come out and every possession we had to win every one of them. If it's a loose ball, we got to win it. If it's a rebound, we got to win it. So I knew the shots eventually would fall, but, took care of it today, but focus on Monday now.
Was there a moment when you knew you had it?
I always feel like I got it. I got to go into every game with that kind of confidence, so just got to keep going.
You guys started a 4 for 4 from 3, but what else was different about this game?
Just our intensity. We didn't have as many, I don't know with the stats, but I didn't feel like we had as many bad turnovers. Took care of the rock, and then we controlled the end of quarters. Didn't give them any momentum plays, so that's a big factor.
Every game in a series has a life of its own, but what does this give you guys going into Game 4?
Gives us nothing. It just means we go into Game 4 with a whole new mindset, trying to take care of it and bring it back home.
When you have a big lead like that, what is the balance between trying to, run the game out time-wise, but also keep the pace up?
I mean, you always want to keep your pace. You just want to make smart decisions. Try to limit live ball turnovers. As long as we get good looks, we should be able to, percentages will play out the right way. I know we struggled shooting the last 2 games, but, we all believe in our shooting abilities. But really it's just controlling the momentum plays, not letting them, hit a 10-point swing, getting a stop when it matters most, stuff like that.
Did you talk about that stuff as a team? Like, what did that look like, just in a film room or whatever it might have been, about protecting those leads?
I mean, obviously, it's kind of stuff we already knew, but, we went through different things. We watched areas where we could clean up a little bit. But it was really just being more confident and just, letting it fly. Don't second-guess a good shot. You come off a ball screen that's there, who cares what the outside world is saying. We shoot too many threes. Everybody's all saying that. But if you believe in your shot and you're able to hit it, then take it confidently. So that's really just the biggest thing.
What is the challenge in blocking all of that noise out?
Getting off social media. Don't listen to the TV. Only worry about the people that are in this room. You got to have a small circle and the people that believe in you, because there's a lot of people saying different things and stuff like that, but you got to zone it all out and just prepare for the moment.
How would you describe the attitude in this room coming out of Game 2 and coming into today?
I mean, obviously we're disappointed after Game 2. We're competitors. We let it slip, but you got to move on to the next one. You got to take care of Game 3. It's a must-win. And now it's on to Game 4. We got to have the same mindset coming in and trying to bring it to 2-2 and bring it back home.
Obviously, you guys never want to turn it over at all, but what's the key to avoiding the live ball turnovers throughout the course of the game?
Just reading the defense. If the overhelp is there, don't try to necessarily split it, or just make sure you take care of it. Turnovers are going to happen. It's just part of the game. But if we can eliminate the bad ones where they just lead to leak outs or a transition 3, those are big momentum swings. So stuff like that. If you see the overhelp, you got to get off of it, come back to it, stuff like that.
What do you think the key was to your success offensively tonight? Or is anything you're seeing in that Knicks defense that you're kind of taking advantage of?
Just got to maintain my aggressiveness. Any chance I get, attack the paint, but always be hunting the 3-ball, obviously. But I thought I did a good job of sometimes getting in the paint, making a play. But for me, it's just about energy. Coming in, if I got to get a rebound, get an assist, get a stop, hit a big shot, got to be ready for everything.
Joe really stress end of quarter scenarios? Like,
100%.
Yeah, like what goes into tightening to that?
Got to control the 3-for-2s, the 2-for-1s, making sure they don't have a good look. I mean, they might hit some, but we got to come down and get a good shot. We can't have turnovers in those areas. So just controlling all that.
There's a lot of pressure on you guys down 2-0 going on the road, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for you, like coming into Madison Square Garden. How do you kind of approach that moment? How do you embrace that?
You wouldn't want to be in any other position as a competitor. This is the best moment you can be in, down 2-0, backs against the wall. You just bring it. And I think we were all prepared for it, and we knew it was at the task at hand, so we did a good job today. Now we got to move on and do it again.
The award-winning 24 Auto Group is the easy choice for your next car, truck, or SUV. 11 locations and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Shop the brands you know and love, backed by savings and service you can count on. Plus, buy 3 and get 1 free for all tire purchases, with 11 convenient locations across the South Shore of Massachusetts.
24 has the knack to save you more. Visit us in store or online at 24autogroup.com.
All right, you mentioned Al Horford. I mean, it's so weird when the Celtics win games and we don't, invariably start with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But the role players were really good here tonight. And you brought up Al, 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 on threes, 9 rebounds, an assist, 2 block shots, plus 12, 15 points overall for Al. And even a little finger wag at Jalen Brunson after getting thrown to the ground. And it really wasn't that bad of a toss to the ground, but I like that Al, you know how Al is. He finds motivation in everything. A couple years ago when Giannis dunked on him in Milwaukee, oh my God, I've never seen Al so enraged afterward in terms of just like dominating a game. And I think we all know when it matters, like Al's going to be and meet the moment.
Al does not like to be disrespected in any which way. Like I've seen Al in community. We've done community events, and we're playing with kids, and I'm letting these.
Did one of those kids disrespect him?
Al would not allow this kid to. It was a girl. Couldn't let a girl beat him in one of the like a free throw shooting contest, and then also there was this like go after the ball, and he was ruthless.
You have to be a ruthless competitor to be in
it was hilarious. I'm like, Al, they're 5th graders, and he goes, I don't want to be trending I don't want to be trending for getting beat by a kid. But I think that actually says a lot about him. He's one of the most classy guys. Right. But he also cares. He's very, very passionate. And when he feels disrespected, when Brunson may have given a little shove and went to the ground, he went right. He didn't even look at Brunson. He went right to the ref and was like the finger point. Yeah. And then my favorite comment that's not even on the stat line is, I got 5 kids from Jaylen Brown, which is just awesome because he does. He's got 5 kids.
He really
he's
does.
38 years old.
And
whether he likes that being said or not, he's not playing like it. Yeah. He is day in and day out. Other than,
we are 1 month away, less than a month away from Al turning 39 years old. And here he is in a big-time playoff moment. I wonder how many games in his life he has played in Madison Square Garden at this point from his Hawks tenure and now. It's a lot. And yet, here he is still meeting the moment. On the playoff stage, there's no one you trust more. And Al didn't have very good games 1 and 2, and he'd be the first to admit it.
Yep.
But you knew he was going to, especially with the 2 days off in between, you knew he was going to be pretty fresh and come back pretty locked in.
And starting.
Yeah, which is, again, I almost don't, it doesn't even faze me anymore because Al started, there was one point late in the regular season where I looked up and I was like, wait, Al started 50-plus games? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, yeah, Kristaps missed a bunch of times at the start of the year. And then invariably the Celtics were missing a starter throughout the course of the season, so Al would jump up. And now in the postseason, when you're not sure what you're going to get from Kristaps, we'll get into that later, it's the perfect opportunity to roll Al and let him do his thing, especially with how good he's been against Karl Towns. And Towns had 21 points, 5 of 18 shooting, though. Not an efficient night. Was pretty active on the glass, 15 rebounds. But, again, Al Horford has been great. Let's talk about the Jays a little bit. I thought Jayson came out of the gates, had that 3-point shot working. We saw Drew Hanlon. I know you when you guys were hooping, telling you all the secrets about getting Tatum on track. I mean, you can't argue with the results. I don't know what kind of workout they did last night, but Tatum's 5 of 9 beyond the 3-point arc. Keys the Celtics going 20 for 40 beyond the arc. Jaylen Brown, 19 points on 7 of 18 shooting. Didn't have the 3-point shot going, but 5 assists and plus 29. Him and Derek White were both plus 29 in this game. again, there's another level for the Jays to go to, but I thought they were important in setting the tone of this game, especially when the Celtics go for 71 in the first half.
I feel like that was the headline going into this. How are the Jays going to respond? Because, you look at game 2 where they combined for just 4 points in that fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown only having 3 points in game 2 in the second half, and Jayson Tatum only having 2 points in the first half. And you're like, okay, your superstars need to play like superstars. And they did enough here tonight with the help of everyone else who stepped up, like Payton Pritchard and Al, et cetera, to impose their will early and let the rest of the game come to them. Like, I felt really confident of how Jaylen Brown got his guys going. I know he was mic'd up.
12 of the 23 assists were from the Jays tonight.
Yeah, and that's a great stat. They don't always have to score. They do have to score, but they don't always have to be like, the leading scorers because of the depth that they have on this team. But they got to get above like 19, like the 19 and 22 points realm is like bare minimum, I think, of what they should have. I think they should, should only go up from there.
I think, I'm with you. I think there's going to be a Tatum 40-point game in this series, right? Like, he's just going to catch fire and he's going to be motivated. I don't know when that happens. Usually, game threes, he's on record as saying he loves game threes. He could have come in with his overalls on and try to do too much, right? Like, and try to be like, hearing all the talk about how superstars got to be superstars in the moment. He could have just, again, taken bad shots or done whatever, and it largely inefficiently. 8 out of 20 is not a great overall, but the 5 of 9 from 3 and setting that tone, it was enough. And I love that he owned how poorly he had played in games 1 and games 2. And came in here with the mindset of just find a way to get them a win.
Yeah, and I think in the end of the third and going into the fourth quarter, he struggled to shoot a little bit, and that's, you look at that number 8 of 20.
Yeah, people were big mad in the early fourth.
People were big mad, but the thing is, this guy hits those shots. He didn't this game necessarily, but I even had some texts come my way like, "What? Why is he shooting these shots? Because they're Jayson Tatum shots. He can hit those. He does hit.
He was
those.
4 or 5 at halftime on threes.
Right, and you have to remember too in the first series against the Magic, he was averaging 30 plus. So this guy is going to take those shots. Now, you obviously, for his sake, want them to fall, and they don't. But I'm not mad at the shot selection. Now, when he gets 3 people in your face, like at the end of the game in game 2, and you're whacking up a shot like that, I think, hey, you can find a better look. But I wasn't mad about the shot selection from Tatum. It's just about hitting him. But did enough tonight.
And they all said the right things. Here's Tatum and Brown at the podium after the game.
A lot of you guys are talking about value setting around the threes and the shots you guys are taking and stuff like that. Is it easy for you to block that out and just keep shooting, or do you hear what do you kind of think about when you do hear criticism of your shot selection?
Don't think too much of it. It's the playoffs. It's the biggest time of the year. There's going to be a different narrative essentially at every game. And I've been on record. I talk about it a lot. Just not riding the emotional roller coaster of a win or a loss. Just understanding that this core group, we've been through a lot of series together, a lot of games, a lot of moments. So just continue to rely on each other throughout, whatever we're going through.
How difficult is it to block out all of that discourse? Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Jason, what adjustment you guys did today to can fix and win the game?
I think one thing we tried to be more intentional about our spacing. Getting guys in the right spots. We always talk about respecting each other's space. And being intentional about what action we want to be in and who we're trying to tackle, whatever the case may be. I think our spacing was a big part of that.
Jason, after seeing so many quality looks not go down in the first 2 games, how much of a relief and a confidence booster was it to see the process and the results align more closely today?
It's just a matter of time. We're all professionals. We work really hard on our craft. We put a lot of time in. You understand there's times where your shot might not be falling, but it always balances out.
Jason, I was going to ask that maybe it's just totally oversimplified analysis, but when that first 3-pointer was literally nothing but net, it didn't even touch the rim. Does it register? Do you feel like, all right, I'm in for a good night, or is that maybe way too oversimplified?
I mean, it's a great feeling when your shot is falling and you feel good and confident. Just as a basketball player, you feel great when your shot is going in. But it can't, that's not the end all be all. It's a lot more factors that go into the game, obviously. But that's a very important one for sure.
You sense it took anything out of them? I mean, when you guys start, whatever it was, 6 out of 7, do you see any shoulders sagging or anything like that? Like, damn, they're off today.
No, I wasn't paying too much attention to their body language or anything.
Jayson, Joe has stressed over and over to us about cutting down live ball turnovers. Obviously, you never want to turn the ball over. Over the course of the game, what's the key to kind of having awareness to it, having a rhythm that you're not doing that, but kind of can get behind that, make sure you don't do that?
I mean, yeah, they're a really talented team. So you start giving them opportunities in transition, to run, and guys start getting open threes and layups. The half-court shots, start to become a little easier. So, taking care of the ball is essential to any game plan, regardless of whoever you playing. You got to take care of the ball.
Jayson, over the course of the regular season, you guys had some of those inexplicable losses at home, and then you go on the road and dominate on the road, kind of answer a lot of questions. Why is that happening again? Is it just like a weird thing that's happened? And what is it about after those really tough losses at home that getting on the road kind of snaps some things into focus?
Home court is important. Being great in front of our fans is important. And how much we value their support. But at the same time, right, if you want to be special, if you want to be great, you got to win some games on the road. But more importantly, it's just about responding, right? We want to be perfect. We want to, win every game. Essentially, it's not going to happen. But how do you respond to those moments, is equally important as well.
Jayson, all the great NBA players, they all wanted to put statement in MSG, especially when people have been talking about, this is the most important Knicks game in this century. And do you feel like after this game, you already put your statement at MSG and showing people what type of player you are under such pressure?
No, I wasn't trying to prove anything today to anybody. It was an important game. It was important for us to respond as a team, and just wanted to come out here and win. That's all that was really on my mind.
When you have one of these stretches, you have a few days between games, and you get in the gym with Drew, and you're able to work on things. What feels different when you get to the game? Are you just recalibrating and everything's right, or is it a mental and confidence thing? What do you feel differently?
I mean, it's just part of it. It's a long season, and you go through stretches where maybe you don't need to change anything, but you just need to get in the gym and see some shots go in and just kind of get your rhythm going. That's where the confidence stems from, all the work that you put in, the muscle memory and things like that. Been doing that my whole life.
Jayson, you've been heavily criticized throughout the year, throughout your career. People have been tough on you. When you hear that, you've kept your calm. You took the bullet a couple days ago when you talked to us. Are you feeling different over the last few days? Does it change you, or are you more numb to it? What is it that you're doing? What is it that you're doing to keep so cool? Before the game, you're laughing, you're joking. One of the bigger games of your career, not the biggest, but one of them. I mean, what is it that you keep cool? What are you doing? You understand what comes with being that guy, right? I live a great life. I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot of. I make a lot of money. I take care of my family. I've been able to experience a lot of things.
But you also have to accept what comes with that, right? I get a lot of praise, I get a lot of credit, I get a lot of accolades. But, I'm not perfect, and there's times where, I've needed to play better, I've needed to do more. And, that's what comes with being, that guy. So just understanding that, and it's not, that people don't just criticize me. There's a lot of people that came before me that they criticize, and it's going to be people that, come after me that they criticize. And, for me, it's a sense of joy that I play with, right? Coming into a game, with an angry face and mad at the world, that's not who I am. That's not when I play my best. So I always say you got to be the same person when things are going great and when things aren't going great. You can't switch up. That's it's the character of a good man.
Last question.
Is there a temptation to want to do more, like you just said, like you needed to play better? Is there a temptation to want to do too much, to want to exploit every mismatch, to want to take the kill shot every single time? Like, how do you balance wanting to do more with, or we got a pretty good team around us, we can do what we do and do it better and we'll be fine?
Just reading the game. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do, and I know what is needed on each possession in order for us to win. I'm not trying to prove anything or anything like that. Today was just about making sure that we win, however that looks, whatever is needed. And our team is so talented and well put together. It can look different from night to night. You all know that. We've said that a million times, and we've proven that, we can be successful doing that. So each night it just look different, and, as long as we win this time of year, that's all that matters.
Questions for Jaylen?
Yeah, Payton was just talking in the locker room about kind of staying true to who you guys are, identity-wise, like taking the shots when they're there, not listening to what people are saying on the outside about the shot selection. How do you guys kind of process that as a team, like when the shots aren't going down, and how do you kind of react to that?
We just keep playing basketball. Obviously, we learn from every experience, so I think we do learn from our mistakes from the past games, but that still doesn't stop us from coming out and playing our style of ball. But we do and are aware of when to try to get better ones, when the momentum isn't going in our direction, and when to get to the basket, get to the paint, et cetera. So we just, learn from every game and we move forward.
Joe was saying, in reference to these past 2 days, sometimes you get tapped into your darkness. Just for you, like what were the past couple of days like? How do you guys have been through a lot these past years as a group in general? How do you guys kind of push everything aside and remain focused on what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I mean that's the playoffs. All the work you put in all year adds up to these moments. So this is the most important time of the year. It's the most important thing for all of us. So, and it's not going in our direction. We don't complain. We gotta find ways to win, dig deep, stay together as a group, and come out and perform. I think tonight we did a much better job of just playing 48 minutes.
After seeing so many quality looks not go down in the first two games, how much of a relief and a confidence booster was to see the process and the results align more closely today? And mentally, what does that do for managing when they start to go on a run?
It's great. When we got open shots, shoot them with confidence, knock them down. We got great shooters on this team. Still got to continue to get to the paint, continue to put pressure on the rim. And I think we can even, shoot the ball even better and even be more aggressive. And as we get more comfortable in this series, hopefully we'll be able to see that.
How's that experience kicked in? It's a 7-game series. So you go down 2-0 and the outside world is panicking. Do you guys know how long a series can be? How does that manifest itself, like in the locker room as the game's going on?
Yeah, you got to beat us 4 times. That's what it comes down to. Not twice, not once, not 3. You got to win 4 games. So it's a lot of basketball to be played.
Jaylen, sorry, I don't want to jump in and be rude. We know, there were 20-point leads in the first 2 games as well. So when you get that big lead again, what was different? was there any feeling of, all right, we're back there again, like, or how did you not fold this time and sort of punch back instead?
I think that third quarter just coming out with urgency and just keeping our foot on the gas and just playing all the way through, not, letting up, not settling or getting a little complacent, just, continuing to play basketball all the way through the game. So I think we did that tonight, and that's why the result was what it was.
You guys, your character or your fortitude is challenged, has it been the last 72 hours, or whether you guys are going to, come out with aggression or that you're going to roll over? Like, does that anger you? Like, what is the last 72 hours been like when, or do you not listen to outside voices?
It's been like that my whole career, so it's really no different. People just, when adversity hits, people tend to, get excited or emotional, and we just got to stay the course. My job is to come out and help lead this team to wins. We haven't been doing that, but, I'm very optimistic that, the next game and the games to come that we will.
You don't get emotional at all, Jaylen? Like, that's not, doesn't upset you at all?
Nope.
How do you not let frustration get in after losing 2 games at home? You come in here, everybody's talking about what this atmosphere is going to be like for the Knicks as opposed to you guys having gone through every type of atmosphere.
I thought it was a great atmosphere tonight. New York is always, has that aura. It's a bunch of celebrities in the house. I thought it was a great atmosphere tonight. Great environment for basketball, and it was fun. It was fun. The first half was fun. The second half was even more fun. So I'm looking forward to Game 4. Payton was huge. Payton was great. New York likes to be, they physical. They got some big guards, wings that like to load up on the ball. They, the level of physicality is higher. So you got to be able to make those passes and be able to make those shots and make those plays. And Payton did a great job of that tonight.
Jimmy, you guys are always caught in this identity between kind of like the idealized version of how you can be and the kind of pragmatic version. And you made that point after Game 1. You guys took a record number of threes. You wanted to kind of be more aggressive and get into the paint. And Joe said tonight that a big part of your guys' success was like you were aggressive, getting into the spacing and transition, kind of just like getting started early. So how much have you been trying to kind of personally seize control to kind of like make you guys play the way that you want to play?
Yeah, I think, that's my job is to, I don't think anybody on our team or maybe even in the league can get into the paint like I can, especially when I'm moving and my body's feeling the way it should be. So that's my goal is to get in the paint, finish, make them help, make them collapse, and then just find my guys for just open reads and play from there.
Does your body feel the way it should be right now?
I mean, it's the playoffs, so, I've battled through injuries, et cetera, but, mentally I'm just focused on the next game.
Jaylen running down the floor with Al throughout the oop. Was there ever any hesitation?
No, I mean, I looked at him. He looked at me. We made eye contact, and I was like, I'm about to throw it. And he was like, all right. So I threw it to him, and he went and got it. So Al was great tonight. Some big-time blocks, some big-time rebounds. And that's what we need, that level of physicality and that level of, aggressiveness on both ends. So big-time game from Al.
I love my favorite quote. I was telling you on PostGame Plus, like when Jaylen Brown says, "Yeah, we lost 2, but someone's got to beat us 4 times." It's an air of confidence, a little bit of this. We went into this postseason and we must have said 50 times, like someone's got to beat the Celtics 4 out of 7, and that doesn't feel like it's going to be very easy. Now, again, credit the Knicks. They found a way in those first 2 games, and largely again, after crunching the numbers, OG Anunoby has been a beast this series. Josh Hart has been everywhere. Bridges was just an absolute pest late in games. And Brunson obviously does what he does. But it was, I love the way that Jaylen said, they were more mad at themselves and because they let those leads get away, and they used that and internalized it over the last 72 hours, and it couldn't have been fun. And I'm sure that, even if you try to get off social media, and believe me, with the Knicks fans in my mentions, I tried.
Hey, me and you both.
But
I got dogged out too. Here we
go. We persevere.
Yeah, And you know what? Let me say something. The Knicks fans, like, this is Boston, New York. Like, we appreciate it. Like, it's cool. Like, I accept that.
That's why I can't get upset about it. It's just like
it's what it is. I had a rude awakening, being like, okay, like, look, this is New York and Boston. We have not seen this post-game series in 12 seasons. So. All the heat is coming. You're seeing the outside, the MSG, the TD Garden police having to hold everyone back and everything. Like, this is the heat of it. And, you know, the Knicks have, I said this before, like, the Knicks have capitalized off of the Celtics' mistakes in games 1 and games 2. And you know, forgive me if people interpreted that as me saying, like, the Knicks are not good, or they're not doing anything to win these games. Like, no, they're doing enough. But the Celtics right now got mad. They got mad at themselves, saying we're giving up 20-point leads. They did not. The Celtics did not allow the Knicks to lead at 1 point in this game.
47.
And I think that was the mindset going into it.
Celtics led for 47 minutes, 12 seconds of this game. Yeah. So all but 48 seconds of this one. Biggest lead, 79-48. Not to rub it into Knicks fans, but I can't imagine. People paid a lot of money to get in that building. And
they're going to pay a lot of money to go to the next one, too.
Exactly. And, well, look, I'm not ready to get all uppity about that one. But I will say, like, you know, it was weird. 3:30 on a Saturday afternoon. I didn't know how the vibes would necessarily be. But, hey, whatever it was, Celtics fed off of it. I do think both teams will walk away thinking their own different version, right? Like, the Celtics will say, for 8 of the 12 quarters, and let's ignore overtime, the Celtics have been, like, a dominant team in this series. And yet, they've had 2 really bad halves that have put them in a hole, and they've still got work to do. And the Knicks will look at it and say, you know, even when they were down 20 in this game, they were still fighting and making the Celtics uncomfortable. They've got to figure out a way to just get a little bit more efficient on the offensive end. You know, one of the fun parts of this game was the Celtics went right back to Hack-a-Mitch. And they love putting Mitchell Robinson at the free throw line. Now, credit to him, he made a couple in the second half or late first half.
All of MSG got up for him.
And you could tell, like, because they were frustrated. I think he was 0 for his first 5 or whatever.
Tell him to bend his knees. I think it's the knee. It's the knees.
Drew Hanlon needs to go talk to him for a hot minute.
But, you know, Karl Anthony Towns doesn't bend his knee. Like, everyone has their own different mojo at the free throw line. But for me, when I watch him shoot, I'm like, it's the knees. So.
This was the first game, I believe, Mitchell Robinson was a negative in the plus-minus. 18 minutes, only 1 of 4 shooting. He did have 12 free throw attempts. That is crazy. 4 points.
Are you for the Hack-a Robinson?
You have to pick your spots. And the Celtics did not pick the right spots the other night. The 2 fouls trying to get him off the court, I understand it. I didn't like it, and it certainly burnt you at the end. I think there is times when you can overthink things a little bit too much. And maybe in that moment when you're watching another lead disappear, I can understand that you're probably a little bit irrational, and I think Joe would. I was gonna say Joe would probably admit it. I don't think he would admit it. I think Joe was better with when to call it in this one. You want to not only use up as much clock before you put him at the line. The one thing I cringe at is, like, the Celtics defense has been so good in this series. If your expectation with him going to the line is going to make 1 out of 2, but although even if he's 4 out of 12 overall, so it's much less overall in the aggregate, but. You know, I always, in my mind, I say he's going to go to the line and make 1. So you're giving up 1 point per possession, which is actually, like, in the NBA, is a good but not great number. The Celtics offense should always exceed that, and yet the Celtics defense has been so good that the Celtics are only probably giving up 0.9, 0.8 in this series. So I just think there's a balance to be struck there, but it does add a little wrinkle to, like, how this series plays out, and you can't argue with the result. Again, first time in the negative, -3. So they found a way to neutralize Mitchell Robinson a little bit.
Yeah, for me, it was the Celtics not giving up a lead at 1 point in the game. Like, I think that's a mentality, because it wasn't only like you guys are up by 20 and the largest lead is 31. It's not only keeping that lead, but not allowing the Knicks to find their juice to get hot and then to take over at any given point. And Joe talked about it, closing out the quarters and not having live ball turnovers. 0 live ball turnovers tonight. Closing out the quarters, like, that was a huge focal point, and they took it to heart.
Yes.
They took it to heart.
And the quarters especially, like, just the huge turnaround from the other night where they just could not get out of it.
And I still don't feel, you know, if you're a Celtics fan, I'm not saying, like, okay, here, Celtics have this one. Like, the Knicks, they already started off on the right note. The Celtics have to crawl their way back. They did so here tonight. It's going to be a bit of a series, but I think that for them to see the way that they won here tonight is just encouraging moving forward.
I told you I had a mustache. I have 2 things. One, the mustache helped. I'm not going to take full credit, but we all did our part to change the
Are you
vibes.
getting used to it?
I don't. You know what? There was like a 30 seconds where I was like, but I was like, I just grow it again. So it's not like it's gone forever.
If you want it,
Yeah,
just
not like waving
keep the razor
farewell,
away.
but it was.
But it worked tonight. Hey, you got the win tonight. 1-1.
So Tatum walks in those overalls. Can I tell you like maybe top 5 embarrassing Chris Forsberg stories?
Let's hear
and
it.
there are a lot of them out there. I was probably like 12 years old, so this is like 92. So crisscross was a big thing, and overalls were big back then. I know this is predating you, but like,
No, I'm with you.
But like wearing the one strap overall, and sometimes you would have your clothes backwards was like in vogue, and it was quite a look. So I show up, and like this kid in town, Seth, was so nice. He invited me to his party, even though I was not among the coolest kids in town. And I show up, and I'm super awkward, and like there's like girlfriend and boyfriends everywhere, and I'm just kind of holding up the wall, probably talking to his parents or whatever. And at one point, I'm like, "Hey man, can I use your bathroom?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure, it's right over there." And I undo the one strap that is in, and it just I'm not thinking.
No.
And it just
No,
it drops
no.
directly into the toilet.
Oh.
Before I've obviously started my business, but
So
so
like
now
a soaking wet overall.
now I have 2, like the whole front is just soaked. So what does young Forsberg do? Like I'm sitting here, I'm in a panic. I am like I'm not supposed to be at this party to begin with, and now I have 2
Your crush
soaking wet
walks in.
overall straps. Meanwhile, like this gets even worse. I'm pretty sure they were like overall shorts, and the tops were dipped in like red paint. Like I have to find a photo of this somewhere. This was
my God,
quintessential
this is
90s, and I should not have been wearing it to begin
What'd you
with.
do?
So I had 2 options. There's a great episode of Friends where Ross
Love Friends.
wears the leather pants, and then he can't get them back up, and he calls Joey, and he's like, "What do I do?" And they make a paste. It's a hilarious episode. It was pretty much that. There was a except I didn't have a cell phone to call anybody. There was a blow dryer in the bathroom, but I felt like that would be super weird. So I'm pretty sure I just took a towel and like patted it dry as best I could, and then was just like, YOLO. Put
Did
them
you
back
walk
on.
out of the bathroom like?
I don't even think I mentioned
Were
it.
they dark overalls? Like, could you get away with it or?
No, they were jean, like with red paint. And so I think what I did is I clipped it on. I walked out, smiled at everybody, and probably walked right to the door and said, "I hope my mom
Seth,
picks."
I
I'll
gotta
wait
go.
outside for the next 3 hours until my mom picks me up. Luckily, it went better for Tatum tonight. I have no shortage of
man.
embarrassing stories.
I'm just imagining if Tatum had a Chris Forsberg moment and had that situation, he'd probably have his stylist come get him a new overall. Like, I don't think he's walking to MSG with that same
No.
look. There's just no way.
But
I credit you. You know what? I credit you for the blow dryer because I've done that. We ladies, we gotta wear the jumpsuits.
Yeah.
And like when stuff happens, you get wet on, and it's like you have the dark spot on your jumpsuit. You just
You gotta
I
take
just want to let you know it's not an embarrassing thing
Okay.
I've done. I've been there, done that before.
But the problem now, people would think I would be doing my hair, and I was just like, I don't know. Even then, I'm just, you know what? From now on, I'm just gonna be unabashed and just be like, you know what? I'm an idiot. My overalls fell into the bath, into the water.
It is what it is.
If any of the people from New York stuck around long enough to watch this segment, feel free to clip that to embarrass me. I will.
We love it. We accept
Yeah,
it.
you really can't be. I really can't be embarrassed. There's too much information out there. What I do need is for everybody to go subscribe.
Everybody.
Come check us out on the YouTube page. Tell the Knicks fans what you think of them. Nicely, kindly. We'll be back for Game 4. I'm going to leave you with a little snippet of Joe Mazzulla and the darkness that this team fought over the last 72 hours.
I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. There's no one way of how it's supposed to go. I mean, people that you get caught up when your expectations aren't met, and so there's no expectations there. We're on a path of trying to go after greatness, and you don't get to dictate the test that's in front of you. All you get to dictate is how you approach it and how you respond to it. So if you plan on doing this for a long time, trust me, it'll be a lot worse than those last 72 hours, and that's the perspective you have to have. So at the end of the day, we got a test in front of us, and I got a group of guys that I wouldn't want anyone else to be able to go through that. So this is the fun part. You don't get into the journey for it to be easy. So it's been dark, but in a good way.
Dark? How dark? Like, what's that mean?
I mean, like, you just got to tap into your darkness, and that's it. Like, so we got to do it. That's it.